of stones arranged in a certain. At one end there was a raised mound which looked like a throne, and smaller stones were arranged round it. The children from the village would bring their cows to graze on the grass that grew on the ruins, and they noticed the stones. They saw the large mound and the way the stones were arranged, and one of them shouted, "It looks like a king's judgment seat." Another boy quickly invented a game to fit the situation. "Let's play at having trials. Trials," he suggested. "I will sit on the mound and be the judge and solve your trials." The children liked the idea and began to make up trials at once. They described their problems to the judge. The other boys laughed and shouted during the game. But the boy sitting on the judgment seat was solemn and stern. He took the story seriously and listened to them. Listened to them attentively. His judgments were usually very fair. The boys excited returned.
Hey, the boys excited.
Excited returned.
Huh?
Returned.
Excited.
Returned in the evening and told their parents what had happened. At the first, the parents were amused, but as the days went by, they were surprised at the boy's wisdom. It was beyond his age. His judgments seemed to be than more just than those of the elders in the village. There was also something magical about the mound. The boy was a cowherd and as playful as other children, but when he sat on the mound, he became thoughtful and spoke wisely. Soon the king heard about the boy. He wondered if
Soon the king heard about the boy. ফুল ষ্টপ আছে নাই? ৰখিব লাগিব নাই? নে এনেই খালি কৈ গ'লে হ'ল? আকৌ পঢ়া।
Soon the king heard about the boy. He wondered if the famous throne of King
বিক্ৰমাদিত্য একেলগত আছে। আৰে বিক্ৰমাদিত্য
lay buried under the mound on which the boy sat when he was a judge. If the throne could help a cowherd make wise decision, he said, it would certainly help me. It would certainly
help me be a better king.
Not long after this, the king's men turned.
সদায় আঙুলি হেতু আঙুল লাগে, হু হাতৰ আঙুলি লাগে, হু হাতৰ আঙুল দিয়া।
Not long after this, the king's men turned up the ground under the stone. They found a magnificent black marble throne supported by 24 carvings in the shape of the mythical bird. Mythical bird, the Garuda. This was indeed the throne.
This was indeed the throne of Vikramaditya. It was lifted and taken carefully to the king's audience room. It was হাত আঁতৰি যায় কিয়? আঙুলিটো আঁতৰি গৈছে কিয়? It was
It was
cleaned
cleaned
and
and
polished.
polished.
A day
A day
was
was
chosen
chosen
on which
on which
the king
the
would
king would
sit on the
sit on the
throne
throne
of
of
Vikramaditya
Vikramaditya
and
and
try to
try to
solve
solve
people's
people's
conflicts.
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 Crowds gathered in the palace one on the chosen day. The king stood before the throne and prayed.
Prayed.
Then he approached the throne. Just as he was about to sit himself on it, one of the Garudas moved its wings. A voice clear and loud addressed the king. Wait, said the Garuda. Before you sit yourself on the throne, ask yourself if you deserve this honor.
If you deserve this honor,
Honor.
only
Only the
pure
in heart.
only
Pure in heart.
আঙুলি ঢাকি থলে মই কেনেকৈ ক'ম? Only the pure in heart
Only the pure in heart
can sit
can sit
on this
on this
throne.
throne.
Then
Then
the Garuda
the Garuda
asked him
a
a question. Have you ever been unjust and cruel? The king stopped. There was silence in the hall.
He
আকৌ
said,
কোৱা, মই কোৱাৰ পাছত তুমি ক'বা. The king stopped. There was silence in the hall.
He said slowly, I know I do not deserve to sit on this throne. There have been times when I have been both unjust and cruel. I shall pray and keep fast for 3 days and then return to this hall. After 3 days of prayers, the king felt that he had paid for his past misdeeds and was now ready for the honor of sitting on Vikramaditya's throne once again. Just as the king was about to sit on the throne, another Garuda moved its wings and said the same thing. The king's courage failed him again. He knew he was still not ready. He would keep fast and pray for 3 more days. 3 days later, the same thing happened. It happened 23 times. At last, there was only one Garuda left. The people who had assembled looked worried and said, the king himself had an anxious expression on his face. As he stood in front of the throne, as expected, the 24th Garuda fluttered its wings and spoke. But this time its words were different. Did you not understand why we asked the questions? It said. I did, replied the king. I did understand. Only the young cowherd was permitted to sit on the throne of Vikramaditya. Only he received the wisdom of the ancient king because he had never been unjust and cruel. As he spoke, there was loud rustling sound. Suddenly, to the great astonishment of the assembled crowd, the large black marble throne rose in the air and flew out with the Garudas holding it. The crowds watched amazed. Now the king went to the space
Now the king went to the space
where the throne of Vikramaditya had stood.
মই যে ক'লো সেইখিনি কথা তুমি ক'ব লাগিব ৰিপিট নাও দ্য কিং ৱেণ্ট টু দ্য স্পেচ
Now the king went to the space
ৱেৰ দ্য থৰ্ন অফ বিক্ৰমাদিত্য
where the throne of Vikramaditya
had
had
stood a few moments ago.
stood a few moments ago.
My people,
My people,
he said, his
his voice was
clear
clear
but said, you have
you have
all seen the happenings of the last few weeks. You have all heard the questions and my replies to them. The Garudas did not allow me to sit on the throne of Vikramaditya. I was not worthy to do so because of my faults. But
I
learned something. I learned something from the Garudas, something that has changed my life. The lesson I learned is this: just sitting on Vikramaditya's throne was not going to make me a wise and just ruler. I should be wise and just in everything. All the time, whether or not I am seated on the throne of Vikramaditya. With this, the king moved away slowly. Once again, the judgment of Vikramaditya had been a wise one.